Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Zelda Book Club, and this time around we are going to look at chapters 2 and 3 of the Ocarina of Time manga.
Yes.
not manga. I think that was by far our most frequent comments slash criticism, I guess.
So I was thinking about it. We didn't get to it in the other video. It got cut out, but we discussed this is your first time reading a manga,
Right.
and I've only read one or two, so it goes to show how fresh we are to this experience.
Right, yeah. We don't even manga. So one of the big comments was from Joshua Tori, and he was talking about the lore. We were talking about the lore of the Kokiri and like how they came to be, and there's no actual like clear distinctive role of like how they were created, but he did say that they take the form of the Deku Tree, or in his vision, I guess. So they like evolve from time to time. That's why they became the Koroks in the Wind Waker, and Kokiri are only in this one game. But it still doesn't explain how they were born.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He made a suggestion about how, like, in like Wind Waker, they try to plant the Korok seeds all over, and I don't know, maybe that eventually leads to new Kokiri / Korok being formed. I guess I don't know if they're considered born.
That'd be cool to see something that goes more into that lore.
Yeah, a whole side story about the life and death of the Kokiri.
But as we know, some of the lore in Zelda is just situational for a game or
Right.
whatever, because weren't we led to believe there's the whole Rito from Zora's and
Right, and
Alan
then Breath of the Wild happened.
yeah, so who can you trust?
Yeah. So as always, we encourage you guys to read along with us. There's links in the description of where you can purchase the books, and so let's jump right into chapter 2.
Sounds good. 2 was basically all about the battle with Gohma.
Right, yeah.
So one thing I thought was really interesting and sort of different from the game was Mido brings in with him the Kokiri sword.
Right, yeah.
I think he calls it the legendary Kokiri sword too.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's how that's introduced. We're kind of seeing like the items have to make sense how they're introduced. It can't just be, it's a video game, so it's in this treasure chest over here.
Right. I like how it's like a play off the game, and because in the game Link got the sword from from like a secret treasure chest in the forest, and then Milo's like, you stole the treasure, you stole the sword?
Yeah.
How could you? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's where he kept it.
Yeah. So what did you think of the Deku Tree itself? Because I'm like, we were talking last time how is this going to be a dungeon? Like, what are we doing in here? Yeah.
So I will say I still think there's room for the future dungeons to be dungeon-like,
Okay.
like the game. But I did kind of appreciate how they made it, make sense that inside the tree it's just going to be, it was basically one room.
Right.
At least that's all we saw.
Right.
And that kind of, I guess a talking tree, magical tree doesn't,
Right.
it's all fictional, but it makes sense that they go in and it's just the inside of this tree.
I liked how so Gohma actually had a few lines, not too much, a lot of just sound effects and whatnot, but he was like, give me the emerald. I think that was her one line, or that was her big ideal. I liked the interaction. What did you think of the interactions between Mido and Link in the Deku Tree?
It was a bit comical,
Yeah.
like almost like a silly buddy cop movie almost.
Almost out of place.
Yeah.
Like, the Great Deku Tree is dying. There's this giant, enemy creature eating the Deku Tree, and Mido is talking about, oh, I want to beat him because I want to impress Saria. Like that.
I was starting to pick up on some of the cheesiness that some people were saying was present in this.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't enough where I was really upset about it. I was like, oh, it's fun, but at the same time, it's a serious situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Gohma was just like eating the Deku Tree from the inside, basically.
Yeah, I know. I got some bad visualization in my head on this one.
But it was cool to see Link and Mido team up.
Yeah. And then I liked how so Mido was throwing rocks at Gohma.
Oh, yeah.
And then like Navi's like, "What are you aiming at?"
Yeah. And I don't know if they change it very much in the future, if every boss battle is a great comedy situation. But I get for this one, it being a little silly since it's their first time engaging in combat.
Yeah,
So
right.
they would be kind of bad at it, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, I don't know what the Kokiri training regiment is, but
right, if there is one.
I assume it's listening to stories from the Deku Tree.
Yeah. So then, like, finally, there's the big exclamation point, and Navi's like, shoot it at its eye,
Yeah.
That's her role.
She Z targets.
Yeah. And then apparently Link just one-shotted Gohma.
Wow. That Gohma's really like a kind of a jabroni then.
Yeah. And it just like whittles down into a little spider tiny thing.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah. That they actually showed that.
Doesn't that happen in like Twilight Princess? Armogoma, doesn't that happen, or?
Maybe, but then eventually just burst into Twilight.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that does happen actually. But that happens with a lot of enemies. They sort of whittle down and then they turn into a cloud of smoke and.
I kind of liked it though.
Yeah,
it's cool. Actually, the Deku Tree tells them that even Queen Gohma was cursed by Ganon.
Yeah.
Ganondorf. So, I kind of like that it wasn't just an evil creature that came from nowhere.
Right.
Is something that lived in the forest, presumably.
Yeah, just like a little innocent little spider. And then Ganondorf was like, "Go," and then it turned into this big monster. I guess that's how probably it went down.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. One thing when we were talking about how it was just the one room and there was, there wasn't all these it missed out on in the game. I kind of liked the foreboding or the foreshadowing of all the Deku Scrubs telling you about Queen Gohma, like kind of hyping up the battle.
Right.
Instead, it's like Gohma goes in and they, okay, we're going after her, and they just run in.
Yeah.
And then the battle starts.
There was virtually no dungeon crawling at all.
So. It would have been cool to see the effect that Gohma was having on the inside more, like seeing, oh, now there's these monsters here. Gohma brought in a whole team of monsters.
Mini Gohmas.
And they're wrecking havoc on the Deku Tree. But overall, I liked that they made sense.
Yeah, I like Mido. Mido's he's great.
Yeah, I wonder if I hope he comes back in maybe a bigger role.
Yeah,
because they turned him good a little bit already.
Yeah.
And he's kind of begrudging when Link is gonna leave.
Right.
He's like, take the sword, but he's sad.
He says, don't ever come back.
Like, he doesn't mean it.
You're right, yeah.
He's like, get out of here, go, just go. Throwing rocks.
The scene afterwards with it shows all the Kokiri just like crying.
Yeah. Wow.
The Deku Tree is like whittling away. He's giving his last words.
But I wonder also though how many people they've even lost.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of unquestioned, like unanswered questions about the Kokiri.
Yeah.
They don't, have they ever dealt with loss before?
So maybe this is really serious for them.
Yeah. This is.
Dang.
So what do you think about how the Deku Shield was made, or the Kokiri Shield?
They just hacked it off.
He just cut off a part of the tree.
Yeah.
Used Mido's sword.
I mean, he made a pretty good shield.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah. And the Deku Tree's like, it will repel evil. It's a piece of wood.
Okay, but it's from the great Deku Tree's body. He's this magical spirit So that's pretty cool.
I like, so this is like bringing it all together so far, how they introduced the slingshot, how they introduced the Kokiri sword and the Kokiri shield. It's like Link is building up his inventory in ways other than just opening treasure chests and getting them.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to continue like that too.
That's one thing that I'm going to be looking out for, as well as, like we were talking about with the dungeons.
Right.
If there's any dungeon crawling elements.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty good. That was a pretty good chapter.
It ends with
Oh yeah.
the two scenes it ends with are directly from the game. Mm-hmm. Link crossing the bridge, leaving Kokiri Forest, venturing into Hyrule Field, and he meets with Saria. Mm-hmm. And they they exchange their I've always been different. I want to go out to see the big world. Mm-hmm. And she gives him the fairy ocarina.
Yeah. Another item for the inventory.
Yeah.
That's almost exactly how the game is.
Yeah. That was like scene for scene. Mm-hmm. And then the chapter concludes with the owl, Pora Gebora.
Oh yeah, he says he wants to honor the Deku tree by sort of helping guide Link.
Right. It's only a brief segment with him. I think it's only one page.
Yeah, he has like a little box. But I like that concept that there's... In the game, we don't really know too much about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have thrown in a, do you want me to repeat that?
If they don't do that gag at least once, when he's actually talking to Link, I'm going to be upset.
Right.
So yeah, I like that they gave him some sort of character other than I'm here to tell you where to go.
Right, yeah.
Or he is there to tell him where to go.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be just like the game, a reoccurring figure as well.
Yeah.
So. But generally speaking, so in chapter 2, say there was a lot of minor changes here and there. We touched upon them, but it's still the general narrative has followed the game.
Yeah, if someone was like, describe what happened in chapter 2, I'd say, well, he got the sword and the shield and he beat Gohma, and then he left and was headed for Hyrule Castle.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
The general idea, we're still following the game almost identically. Mm-hmm. I think that changes in chapter 3 quite a bit.
Yeah, I would say so, but the end result of it kind of gets to the same place still. Right. But yeah, chapter 3, I kind of was intrigued and I liked the change.
This was awesome. This was like, so let's first start before he gets to the castle. There's a much larger. It seems the world is much larger as well. I mean, the game, it doesn't it takes 40 seconds to walk from Kokiri Forest to Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, obviously.
That's in scope. I imagine in the real world it's longer, but you know what I mean.
Well, it also goes with, we were once discussing like which village would you want to live in, and you talking about your discussion with Caleb about how, well, this one only has 4 people, but obviously the game can only show you so much.
Right. So everything's actually bigger than it seems.
It's cool to see that played out, because even before, don't want to get too far ahead, but when they get into the market, it's way more bustling than in the game. Right. And the game is pretty bustling for the time even.
Yeah.
But he's
so he can't walk to Hyrule Castle. It's
no
too
way.
far. So he hitches a ride with our good friend Talon, who's not named yet, and I don't think they ever mentioned his name.
Yeah.
So he's just a guy.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm pretty excited for whenever those characters come back, or when they actually become characters in it.
Yeah.
But I got a little excited when I saw him.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
He's just like Link just jumps into his carriage and drinks his milk.
Yeah. I liked too because what he was doing was he was delivering stuff to was he going to the castle?
Yeah.
I like that. That's what he was also doing in the game, so it still fits in pretty well while being a unique change, I think.
Yeah. So we get to the castle, and Link immediately, it shows the scene where there's just the population is all over the place. I'm like looking at that picture, by the way, of just the castle market, and there's like 50 people in the background, and in my mind, I'm just thinking, dun, 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 dun. Like,
amazing.
the music is playing in my head,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like it's the big world.
It was the same for me when we were in Kokiri Forest.
Oh, you were like mentally hearing the music.
I'm hearing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Like that says a lot about just the music from that game in general. How memorable and perfect it really is.
Yeah.
Maybe perfect is too far, but
I love the trouble that Link gets in right away. Because he doesn't know he's like a deer in headlights. 'Cause
Yeah.
he doesn't know anything of what's going on. And he's like, oh, there's food. Let me go eat this food.
yeah. In the first couple chapters, they didn't acknowledge or show there wasn't like a shop in Kokiri Forest. Because in that like world, what use would they have for a shop?
Right, yeah.
I'm thinking when Link gets there, he probably doesn't understand like economics or you have to buy or because what need do they have in Kokiri Forest?
Yeah, because they ask him after he just starts eating people's food. Then they ask him to pay for it. And he's like, did he say what is money? I think that's what he said. Something
Like that.
Like he has no concept of how the Hyrulean economy works.
Pretty. He doesn't support the economy buying shields and
Yeah.
he just makes them out of trees.
So then we see this girl, and who just jump. Well, first of all the market people are gonna like gang up on him, and he's like, it shows him getting worried, and then this girl comes to the rescue. I'll pay for it all.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I first saw her, I thought it was Malin.
Me too. I was about to say that.
Okay.
Because that's where you meet. Yeah, that's where you meet her.
Yeah. I was thinking we saw Talon in the war, in Hyrule Field, and this is where we meet Malin in the game. So I'm like, it kind of looked like Malin. I wasn't,
I feel like I liked it a lot actually, but I feel like it's slightly a missed opportunity to introduce those characters.
Yeah.
Though I don't know what they do with them later.
Right. But I don't think it mattered because I thought that the whole segment in the market was awesome. With so we don't find out who this person is right away. But she shows you the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, okay, that's not.
Well, right away I was thinking, I'm like, why does Malin have the Ocarina of Time? This is what I was thinking. I'm like, but then I'm like, is she a thief? Is that her role in this one?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I just was like, this is not her. I didn't think it was Zelda yet, though. I was just like,
yeah,
this is a new character.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for these new characters.
Right. Then we see another familiar character from the game in the form of Impa.
Yep.
She just shows up and confronts you and says, then she says, have you seen a little girl around here with blonde hair and blue eyes? I'm like, oh, then it's definitely not Malin. This is what triggered me at this point.
Yeah,
I'm like,
same.
Yeah, because Malin has red hair. And then it shows we at this point we know that this person is Zelda. And we see her hiding behind the fountain, And then Link just lies. Like, nope, haven't seen her.
What a little brat.
Yeah, I know. And then
I like it.
And then the next few, they just go through the greatest hits of the castle market.
Which is cool, because it's like, how do you incorporate... you're not going to do a whole page on them going bomb chew bowling. It's a good way to...
But they did a whole page about them going bomb chew bowl.
Well, I don't remember how, but you know what I mean. They don't dwell on it, and go, okay, now here's this. We're gonna, it's not a whole chapter on just the market. They
Right.
go to the castle and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that they kind of threw those things in, because otherwise, why would you even have, what purpose would they serve the story?
Right. Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I'm trying to get a better quiver or bomb, heart piece.
Right.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I like that the characters they had, like the Bombchu manager, it's the same like character model from the game, like that's pictured.
Yeah.
And she's got the same pose, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And where else do they go? I know they go to the Happy Masks shop.
Yeah, because they come out with the two different masks.
He's just wearing the bunny hood mask.
Yeah, they almost have like one of those movie montages where they're just going to...
Yeah, that's like a greatest hits. It's like a montage.
That's to me when the ding 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 was playing.
Right. Yeah.
I was like picturing. Yeah, I could see it all in my head.
I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, Zelda's got this. Is wearing the mask of truth. I'm like, did they really do the whole mask trading sequence in this?
That's awesome. So that's one major change from the game.
Yeah, they even do things like there's a slingshot quiver game in the castle town because they were I don't know if you saw that one.
I don't remember now, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anywhere else they go. I think they went just to a shop and bought a bunch of Goron food or something. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah, some little treats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And then overall that was pretty awesome montage element.
Yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because this is totally different than, like we were saying, it's a way to introduce all the stuff that you can do in a way that's not boring.
Yeah. That would have been horrible if the whole chapter was him just going to shopping for the whole chapter,
picking up pots and throw it.
Oh yeah, going to that one side room that's just all the pots. Amazing.
Yeah. Then it's nighttime. She's got to go home.
Yeah.
And she just leaves, I guess.
I can't remember. Does she tell him to come to the castle or?
No, at this point, I don't think Link even knows who she is yet.
Oh right, because they when he does get to her, they have that same image of them like seeing each other for the first time.
Right.
But this time it's got a twist on it. It's him being like, "Oh my goodness,
right.
I already know you."
One thing. It's one of those where at what point did Zelda? So Zelda eventually says, when they meet in the courtyard, jumping around a little bit here, but then she mentions, just as in the game, like, I had a dream that a kid from the forest came to, like a hero from the forest is coming, and like, did Zelda know this? You think early on when they first met in Castletown?
I think so, because they were trying to get Link to give up the spiritual stone. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe she sees this and.
By the way, did you get worried at all when they were like, "Oh, they're going for his the Kokiri Emerald"?
Oh, I figured. I didn't think he would lose it.
Yeah.
I know they diverge from the game a bit, but I didn't think there was gonna be. I didn't think like Ganondorf was gonna show up or be like, "Mine now."
Yeah. I lost the emerald.
Game over. Yeah. This is the downfall timeline.
Yeah.
I didn't know they wrote these books in the downfall.
Yeah. So one other thing that happens in the castle that it's worth mentioning is the Gerudo show up.
Oh yeah, in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. It was. I totally foresaw what was going to happen in this situation.
Oh yeah.
they show up and they give us the Ocarina of Time. Okay, yeah. Link's going to come to the rescue here.
Yeah.
Link came to the rescue.
Though he didn't do much.
He just, I think they clanked swords and then they were like, somebody's coming, and then they ran off.
It was a good no finish situation. Because we know if they actually fought, Link might have. I guess he's killed a giant arachnid. But I don't think right now, where he's at in his progression, that he could take on 2 Gerudos.
Well, even if he loses, he'll just get game over and then continue, and then he'll eventually beat him.
Yeah. Maybe throw his controller down a couple times. But that was cool because that actually comes back. Sort of. They bring it back up again when they're talking to Ganondorf.
Right.
which was cool.
Yeah. So so now we're in the courtyard, and Ganondorf just walks right in, just like right away. And like Zelda seems more suspicious of Ganondorf. Well, I guess Princess Zelda was suspicious of Ganondorf even in the game.
Yeah. We just get to see it more interaction between them.
Yeah.
I actually liked it because I liked they were stressing his relationship with her father, and it really in the game, you're like children, but you're doing these amazing feats. In this, it really made it feel like Zelda is just a child. There's not much she can do to stop this grown adult, and they also show that when Impa is looking for her, so it really makes it feel like her ability to defeat Ganondorf as a child,
right?
In her no way of doing it.
Yeah, she can't do anything. Like there's even an interaction where she's talking to her father, to the king, and the king's like I don't remember what he says, but it's like
this is a time of peace.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're in a time of peace. What are we worrying about? Yeah.
So yeah, I did appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. But we actually get like direct interaction between Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Ganondorf is just a jerk.
Yeah, but I like how he tries to play it off like, hey, give me that ocarina. Yeah, come on, give me that Ocarina of Time. Come on, give it to me.
Yeah. It also kind of builds up the ocarina, makes it seem like way more of a big deal.
Yeah.
Because in the game, you just do the three child dungeons before you interact, before he says anything at all.
Yeah, we don't even know anything about the Ocarina of Time really. I think until we're going back to the castle after we beat all the spiritual stones. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get the stones, you're like, okay, I got what I need. And
yeah.
It's like, oh, I need the ocarina now.
Right. I was a little confused why they introduced it so quickly. Because you just got the fairy ocarina. It was like, you haven't even used it yet. And I was like, okay. What?
They also ask him about the Gerudo soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't happen to have anything or know anything about that or something like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So we can see, like we did in Kokiri, like Ganondorf scheming. So I like that a lot.
Right. Yeah. So that was a good chapter.
Yeah. They finished it off with that.
Yeah. I think it finishes off in. I think it's just Link and Zelda. Like we have to stop them.
Yeah.
And then Link gets the quest of. You have to go and get the other 2 spiritual stones. Because he starts talking about, like, they talk about the Triforce a little bit and, what they need to get into they talk about the Temple of Time very briefly. So
presumably he's going to Kakariko or Goron City next?
Yeah. His quest it's just like the game at this point. So it was one of those things, like we were saying, the journey from point A to point B was different, but the destination is still the same.
Yeah.
He made it to Zelda. Now he's on a quest to get the other 2 spiritual stones.
I'm really intrigued. I'm glad that I have no idea like what's gonna happen. I assume the same thing, but with divergence. But I'm kind of excited to see how they get there.
Yeah. So the next chapter, let's see, titled "The Search for the Spiritual Stone of Fire." And then the 5th chapter, Inside Jabu Jabu's Belly.
Okay.
So it sounds like they move along. Which I think we'll cover both of those in the next one. And then there's The Hero of Time is Born. So we'll cover chapters 4 and 5.
Okay.
In our next video. So clearly he's going to venture to these regions.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how they do the, Darunia.
Yeah.
And King Zora and Rudo.
I think they're gonna stick with sort of this is kind of an oddball comparison, but like Breath of the Wild, where he's going to meet the one character, and that's the one character he's going to interact with, and they're going to move along in their journey together. There might be some side people, but they're not going to spend much time on them.
Oh, kind of like companions for each area.
Yeah. So we had Mido in the Kokiri era in chapter 1, basically, and chapter 2, really, and then we had Princess Zelda in chapter 3. So I think maybe we'll see Darunia, and maybe we'll follow him on his journey, and he'll be the
That would make sense. Like that he would be a good guide.
Yeah.
And then we know Rudo in the game is actually in there.
Yeah.
Which was cool. That was a cool storytelling element.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also good because when they come back later in the game, some of them sages, or the story, I suppose. Yeah. Like that, they kind of have this built-in backstory. So.
Yeah. Maybe they should change the lore and make Mido a sage.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Isn't that one of the town names in Zelda 2?
Yeah.
They're all named after
Harbor Town
sages mostly.
Is it? Yeah, I think so. I think Mido is a town.
The other names are sages.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a forgotten sage.
Yeah. Maybe.
This is some X-Files lore we're getting into. Let us know in the comments what you thought of chapters 2 and 3. Don't spoil the rest of the book for us.
No spoilers.
And thanks for watching.